Alright everybody, welcome to the We Play Dota 2 Group H. We're live, we've sorted our way through all the kinks, the quirks of getting into the game, and everyone is here on time for a all-American showdown. We've got Evil Geniuses up against Team Artyk, a South American team mostly from Peru, with some fairly actually somewhat known names, and this is sort of the team to look out for, one of the dark horses in this group. However, I'm getting ahead of myself. I need to introduce my co-caster. Joining me is Vikramond, or Vic. How are you doing today, and what's been going on, man?
I'm doing fantastic, Gods. I'm actually very interested in seeing this group because I am also learning about these teams recently. Basically, all three teams in this We Play Group H, other than... sorry, F? Are we F?
H.
H. In this We Play Group H, three of the four teams are actually teams I've been casting in the Netherlands Pro League, and I'm pretty familiar with the Peruvian teams just because I've been following them for a little while, and I think we could have some very interesting results here. EG, obviously the clear favorite for the group, but actually these other three teams do have strengths as well, and I don't know that there's a clear favorite to take second. If I had to guess one, I would say the team we're watching now, Artyk, formerly Gamers University, sort of a Peruvian all-star team in some ways.
And it'll be really interesting to see how EG play. We can easily talk about EG being the favorites for this group, but they have not really been playing competitive Dota in some time. Malk's been away on holidays. They've had some issues. There's been a lot of sort of disgruntled fans, but they're back in action. They've got their full roster here, and I'm really excited. I'm really having high hopes for this team because I want to see them bounce back, especially with TI3 fast approaching. They're a team who made some splashes at TI2, and I want to see that again at TI3.
Definitely. EG are a team that just has tremendous upside. When they play well, I think there's basically no team in the world that's actually going to just stomp them when they're on their game. Like, we saw them in either G League or G1 League last season, and they made a pretty good run, frankly, impressive even against strong Asian teams. But then when they get into their slumps, when they don't care as much, maybe they're not paying as much attention, they can pick up some embarrassing losses. So hopefully we'll see them closer to the high end of that today than the low end.
Yep, absolutely. We're starting off our draft here. We're seeing pretty standard stuff. The Keeper of the Light banned out as well as the Mag. Batrider gets banned on the Arctic side. Notable heroes left in the pool. Probably the Nyx Assassin, to me, is the big one still in the pool, which EG could quite likely first pick here. You've got your Lifestealer still in the pool as well, which has sort of been a go-to carry quite often. And it'll be interesting to see. Nate cops a ban here, which is a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, this is interesting. Sometimes one thing that you can do, I think, if you're second pick, which Artyk are here, is if they want to say take two heroes, like they want Lone Druid and Lifestealer, for instance, then you can ban out something like the Nature's Prophet. This might be a targeted ban too. We do know Demon likes playing the NP a lot. I haven't seen him on it as much recently, but there used to be a time when he was just playing Nature's Prophet all the time. And if they're scared of push or they're trying to pick up a lineup, yeah, so I think they'll pick up Lone Druid plus X. There's still a lot of Nyxes in the pool, yeah, I don't know.
I think the big issue with first picking Nyx Assassin for EG is, like you say, you can get Lifestealer and Lone Druid. Both heroes have no problem with Carapace. Lifestealer can raid through it. Lone Druid, well, it's his Spirit Bear that's on you. That doesn't actually get stunned up. So I think it's this two dual core strategy. The Chinese teams have been doing it a lot, which is really powerful. And I don't think EG wants to give it away. So they make sure they grab the Lifestealer here with their first pick.
I mean, this is a very solid pick. This moves Artyk towards having to pick up SD if they want to, or Bane. They actually are going to pick up Darkseer. We didn't mention Darkseer, another very strong hero. But I feel like if Artyk don't take, in their first three picks, one of the stronger supports against Lifestealer, they could find themselves in a lot of trouble. I think they really should secure maybe the SD or the Bane for their third pick. I do like Nyx. He's extremely strong, but not particularly against Lifestealer.
And I think something which Arctic have to be worried about is that 1-2 punch, the Lifestealer Lone Druid, because EG can grab it right now. They can grab the Shadow Demon as a support if they want, or if they want to get really aggressive, you get something like a Leshrac, go Lifestealer Leshrac. You have pretty much a guaranteed split earth after an open wound. So there's a lot of potentially powerful EG tri lanes coming out with this Lifestealer first pick.
Absolutely. And I wanted to pick your brain, Gods, because I know you've been casting a lot of the G1. Do you think that this Lifestealer build that a lot of the Asian teams are running that focuses purely sort of on the hard move speed with Phase, Drums, Sanj, and Yasha, do you think that's going to percolate over to the Western scene as well, or will it mostly stay an Asian build?
I think it's fantastic, and I think especially a team like EG, they watch and sort of... EG are trendsetters, but at the same time, they really keep a close eye on the Chinese teams. One of the few teams who've actually gone and trained in China in the past, and I think they're a team who take a lot from the Chinese team. They also offer a lot. I think the Chinese teams have also taken a few pages out of EG's book from time to time. So I think it's quite likely they look to go for that, at least the phase drums. Maybe we don't see the Sanj and Yasha. You go looking for a more standard armlet into Basher or whatever it may be. But I think the phase drum especially is very, very popular.
I really think that it's sort of the next evolution of Lifestealer, simply because teams' response to him lately is, you try to slow him down. You can kite him somewhat if you have Gyrocopter, who we could actually see him coming out with a third pick here too. I do know that Iwo, the Artyk's carry player, doesn't particularly favor Gyrocopter relative to other heroes, but we're in a meta where the top carries are just so strong that I think it doesn't matter if you don't personally like them. If they're not banned out, you're going to end up on that Lifestealer, especially Lifestealer, but to some extent Gyrocopter as well.
Yeah, and EG have themselves the Lone Druid Life, so they also grab the Rubik, and it's going to be a Clockwork third pick here, which I like the hero, but I just don't feel like it matches up well against Lifesteal or Lone Druid. I think if he's in a laning stage against Lifesteal, it's good because you can burn down all of Lifestealer's mana really easily using the cogs, but I think come mid to late game, it's a hero who can just get torn to shreds by a Lifesteal unless you get that early start. So I think Artyk, with their sort of semi-carry or carry hero they need something like a Gyrocopter, because they need some early to mid game firepower, because if this goes late and they haven't got themselves a strong lead, heroes like Clockwork, Nyx Assassin are just going to be food to a Lifestealer.
Yeah, definitely. I think I actually like the Clockwork pick just because it has a couple good effects. It is obviously laning pretty good against Lifestealer. If he manages to maintain good levels, that's going to be the main challenge. Because if he's doing very, very well on levels, he gets something like a Force Staff or a Blade Mail or what have you. This Clockwork can do a lot of work, and it doesn't shut down Lifestealer, but it's the beginnings of a coherent strategy against Lifestealer. The other thing is this Clockwork makes it so that they don't have to ban Leshrac. Even if EG go for that Rubik Lifestealer Leshrac tri-lane, it'll be very strong in lane, but Clockwork is still somewhat safe. And later on, Clockwork absolutely crushes Leshrac. Due to the cast time increases on Lesh, he basically can't do anything if that Clockwork is on top of him with Battery Assault running.
Yeah, it's not fun at all. And I think for Artyk, the key sort of things here is going to be get it mech up nice and fast. The plus armor, the heal is going to be really useful against Lifesteal and Lone Druid. And heroes like Clockwork, maybe Nyx Assassin as well. You need Ghost Scepters this game. You've got physical damage from Lone Druid, Lifestealer. There's not much real burst damage coming out. We'll probably see some from the other support hero from EG, and maybe even their solo mid if they're not running a Lone Druid solo mid. But right now, it's a lot of physical damage and not much else sort of not much really backing it up just yet.
I still feel like Artyk are just a little bit soft to the Lifestealer first pick, because now EG have all the time in the world to ban SD. They can ban Bane. They can actually take Bane if they want, because they do have first pick, so they could take him fourth for their second support, for instance. Rubik Bane, not the most common tri-lane in the world, but it's hardly bad, and it's good insurance against Artyk, who are, it looks like, most likely going to run one primary core farmer. And the fewer cores you have, the better Bane is, basically, because he can shut down one core very effectively.
Yeah, absolutely. I like this Luna and Gyro ban from EG. They ban out two of sort of the most powerful early to mid-game sort of carries or semi-carries, and that's something which Artyk were really seeking with this draft of theirs, so it'll be interesting to see what they go for instead. It's like your hard carries are there, but picking up something like an Anti-Mage doesn't do anything against these heroes.
No.
PL isn't going to be all that great either, so I feel that Artyk are in a bit of a pickle here as far as their carry goes. They sort of need to go out of the box here. We've seen some of the Southeast Asian teams go with a Mirana or a Morphling, and I feel that's almost what they have to be looking at here with this fourth pick of theirs, or maybe their last pick.
I think they are going to have to go with somewhat of a non-traditional carry, and they need a mid as well. It's actually interesting. I think they feared the Queen of Pain coming out from EG, because Artyk will actually typically run Queen of Pain on their mid player Smash, and he's very, very good with it. We saw them, I think, blow out. I can't remember what team it was, but I think they beat Fnatic NA by just going like 14-1 with Queen of Pain or something recently. But they might go for Tinker. We do actually see Peruvian teams sometimes deploying that, and I think it would be pretty good as a mid in this game. The Blind is actually pretty effective. Never mind. I guess Nyx Assassin mid, and they'll just have to go for some sort of weird carry option.
They can. It looks like they will be seeing Nyx and Jakiro as the two supports, unless we send Darkseid to the jungle, then Nyx mid Clockwork off. You could run Jakiro as the only support with a Darkseid jungle, then you can do the Nyx mid Clockwork offlane, but I think more likely it's Nyx and Jakiro as the two supports. You've got your Clockwork, actually as a solo mid potentially, or Darkseid solo mid.
Good.
Beastmaster last pick by EG, so they're going all out with the physical damage, early mid-game push, well, not even early to mid-game push, more like a mid to late-game lineup with the Beastmaster Aura giving them more attack speed. They get a strong push here as well with the Edict damage, the Lone Druid Bear, the Beastmaster Aura, but Artyk, I'm really curious what this last pick of theirs is.
Let me run something by you, actually, Gods. What do you think about an aggressive tri-lane with Clockwork, Darkseer, Jakiro? The Clockwork Darkseer is something we've seen. I think last week there was like a situation where Clockwork Darkseer was deployed 2 versus 3, and it was actually effective. And Jakiro pairs up with those cogs just incredibly well.
Oh, they go Phantom Lancer, though. I would have liked that. It was something that Rattlesnake did with the dual lane with the Clockwork Darkseer, and it was really powerful. But this PL basically, well, there's no hope for that. And I don't think PL is the right pick here against Lifestealer, Lone Druid, Beastmaster, who's a likely gem pickup. It just doesn't seem like a hero that's going to be able to fight the Lifestealer Lone Druid at any point in this game, unless he gets a fantastic snowballing start.
Right. Picking it into the Beastmaster is what I think is the most questionable, because what Jo can do, and Jo loves mobile, like we've seen him on Storm Spirit and Queen of Pain so many times. I think he's likely to build this Beastmaster for great mobility, get something like an early blink, and then once you have Gem, how does the PL escape any sort of combat situation? It's going to be Iowa will have to play so carefully and safe, and I just don't know. I feel like Artyk are setting themselves too low of a margin for error. Like, if everything goes great, and they manage to get amazing farm on the PL, he should do okay because there's not that much natural cleave on EG's team, but EG are so dangerous, and they have so many stuns and slows and tangles that if they get on top of Iowa, he's just going to fall extremely quickly.
Yeah, and I think that's really the big concern. And you've got the Lifestealer who can look to maybe infest into the Beastmaster if Beastmaster goes for a Blink Dagger, then you get that easy free initiation. But we'll see how he does. We'll introduce our lanes quickly. It's actually going to be Malk playing the Lone Druid, so he's going into what looks to be an off-lane Lone Druid. He's got some items on his Spirit Bear, ensuring they even has some tangos on it. We've got Jo playing the mid lane Beastmaster. No big surprises there, although Beastmaster is kind of Demon's trademark hero. It's no longer Demon in the mid lane, and Demon actually playing the Lifesteal, the hard carry, and this is something some people are mentioning in IXDL. Demon's been playing a lot of carry lately, and Fear's been playing support, and that's what we're seeing. Fear on Rubik.
Fear, of course, is a very, very strong #1, but I think maybe EG are just trying to mix it up. They still have time. The time to sort of experiment with your lineup is definitely not 2 months from now. It's now.
Yeah.
If you want to prepare for TI3 and you think that you might have a more robust approach to take, you should be doing that now. So it makes sense that EG are experimenting a little in a game that they probably don't regard as that difficult for them, so maybe they can use this sort of alternative lineup and see if it works.
I'm really curious how Malk's going to do in this offlane, because he's a player who's been playing support as long as I can remember. When it comes to Dota 1, Dota 2, it's always been his go-to role. Normally the 4 position, playing sort of junglers, known for playing heroes like Chen. Occasionally seen on something like an Axe, back when even in a 4 position, or sometimes even in sort of a solo mid position, but he was never really an offlaner or a carry player, and he's here on a Lone Druid. This is the first time I've ever seen a Malk Lone Druid, I believe.
Yeah.
8 PM 15. Select would not be proud.
Well, that has to be heartening to see if you're Artyk, formerly Gamers University, I think. I guess I should introduce what their lanes are as well. It wasn't totally clear to me what it would be, but it looks like they've gone for basically the most standard conformation with the heroes that they have. So Mihawk will be taking up the solo lane Clockwork. They're putting Smash on the Darkseer, a little bit less of an explosive hero than he usually prefers to play, but definitely strong in team fights. And then up in the top, their tri-lane will be Mystico on the Shadow Demon, Iowa on the Phantom Lancer, and Masoku filling it out on this Jakiro.
Yep, we'll see Malk go for some early pulls here. He's managed to get the first creep wave back to his tower, so he'll get himself some guaranteed levels, hopefully a bit of farm here as well, and just disrupting the PL's farm, which is really the big key thing here at the top lane. Is, whoop, quick pause coming out as Artyk, it looks like they need to just make sure get something ready to go. For those of you just tuning in, this is your We Play Dota 2. This is Group H. We've had, I want to say 8 groups. Yeah, we've had 8 groups of 4, 32 teams here in the main event. This is this weekend is our last weekend for the sort of phase 1. We've had 6 of our groups already finished. We have today's Group H, and I think tomorrow's like Group D or something. I don't know. We just bounce around from letter to letter.
F, I think.
The letters don't really matter when all's said and done. It's a group. Today we've got a group. We've got EG, Artyk, Olrox, as well as Team Dust, I want to say. I don't know much about Team Dust. I know the other 3 teams, but I don't know Team Dust at all.
We can talk about them a bit, I guess, in the next game. I've been watching them. They're in Netalik as well, and they're actually pretty strong, but we'll talk about them later. They're not in this game.
Yep. So, as far as PL, pretty much guaranteed free farm, but it's similar story at bottom lane with the Lifesteal. Do you think either team's getting sort of a bit of an edge here, or is this just going to come down to how they play it later on?
I actually think Melk will probably be in a little better shape here. I don't think Mihawk feels safe enough to approach the lane at all. EG just have a much more dangerous tri-lane in terms of actually killing you. Jakiro, until he gets levels, that Ice Path is not going to last long enough for them to make anything of it, honestly. And the Nyx Assassin, he's got a stun, but I think Melk will feel fairly confident that he can get these pulls and get a little bit more XP. It's not going to be a dramatic difference, but like I said, Artyk need Clockwork to actually hit levels more than EG need Melk to hit levels. EG will feel perfectly fine as long as Demon gets a ton of farm on Lifestealer, whereas if this Clockwork isn't able to get his hook in a timely fashion, Artyk's counter initiation will just not be there.
Unfortunately for Malk, one of his pulls gets disrupted by a neutral camp by Masoku. So nice bit of play there coming out from the Jakiro, but Malk's got this wave already pushed out to his tower, so he's almost hit level 3. Clockwork at bottom lane has not got a single point of experience just yet, so he's really struggling down there. And it's like you mentioned, Malk getting a lot more out of the off lane than this Clockwork, which is a bit of a worry.
Definitely. I mean, it's a lot of pressure already on Artyk because I can't imagine that they want to rotate over, because then if they lose the supports in this lane, the Lone Druid Bear is just going to get tons of pulls and Milk's going to get big. So they find themselves, I think, caught between a bit of a rock and a hard place. They maybe thought that the Clockwork would be a little safer in this lane than he is, or they may have misanticipated EG's lanes. They might have thought that Demon Bdiz Fear would go hard lane because it's such an aggressive lane. Typically, this Lifesteal Lesh Rubik could be run as an aggressive try. So they thought they'd have a 1v1 in which Clockwork feels absolutely fine. But unfortunately, it's exactly not that. It's the opposite.
It's actually what I thought EG would do here, because I think Lone Druid beats a Clockwork pretty handily at the bottom lane, and the tri lane at the top should have a slight edge, but EG opt to give Demon the guaranteed farm at bottom. He is going to be going for somewhat of a mobility build here. It looks like he's getting some phase boots up nice and fast, but we're seeing our first rotation. Nyx Assassin TPs to the tier 2 at bottom. He's making a point to stay hidden. I don't think EG have seen him just yet.
Yeah, but EG, they're still playing pretty safe. I'm not sure even with the Nyx stun that they can actually... I mean, EG will pull off the push, but this tower's already at about 290. They may have to just keep the Nyx down here. Mystico, he is holding a smoke, so he could come around if they rotated somebody else, and then maybe they could score a kill, but just having the Nyx here doesn't materially change the condition of the lane in any way, shape, or form. But they probably will still lose.
It's actually a bit surprising that he TP's bottom. I guess he wants to keep this tier 1 alive as long as possible, and I think they realize that. PL, he's getting farmed with or without Nyx Assassin at top lane, but I think I would have liked to see Nyx Assassin go for a couple more pulls, get a bit more XP at the top lane, get himself some more farm, get towards the arcane boost, but he's going to go for a smoke with the Clockwork, and this is the first sort of out-of-the-ordinary play coming from either team. Clockwork, Nyx Assassin smoking, looking for Jay at the mid lane. He's going to walk right into him because he's going for bottom rune.
I think they can probably get this. Oh, they'll definitely get it. He's dead.
Iron Shell, Cogs if they really need it. Not going to even be needed. And, well, easy pick off there. Luckily for them, the rune didn't spawn top, because if rune spawns top, Jao goes top, finds the rune, then comes back mid. Maybe with a haste or an invis and some kind of rune that can escape that sort of a gank. But
sure,
for Arctic, it does spawn bottom.
They're just harassing Milk up here, but that was actually a very, very important kill for Artyk, because that raises up the Nyx Assassin and the Clockwork to level 3. And now I think they're not feeling nearly so bad about the XP situation. Considering Darkseer is doing very well mid, and they're pretty happy with PL's farm here, this sort of puts them back in a bit. I still don't know if they can defend this tower, though.
Bottom lane, Dax going to go on Clockwork. TP coming in. Lots of TPs. 3 TPs coming in. Counter ganks all over the place. Clockwork still alive. Not for long. Rubik Fatebolt finishes him off. Fear now on the run. He's going to get Lance out. It's actually a PL TP as well. He wants to go into Bdiz as well. Bdiz, he's getting out of there. Meanwhile, it's actually Demon on the back line. He's in all sorts of trouble. He's got phase boots, luckily. That's going to help him get away. But PL, he's still on the chase. He's got the scent for Bdiz, but he's not going to finish off the kill.
No,
they
man,
couldn't decide.
He just can't finish. Yeah.
PL went for Leshrac, the rest of the team went for Demon, and then I think if they just committed to either or, they could have got one of them.
Yeah, I think you're definitely right, Gods. It's just sort of, they had 2 extremely appetizing targets, and everybody wants to bite the Bdiz. And then I honestly think maybe Demon was the right one to commit to. They could have rotated everybody that was here over to sort of the jungle escape route, because it's not like Demon was holding a TP. If they had brought PL over, they could just wait out the rage and then lance him and get the kill. So kind of a mistake, but honestly, you have to give them props for the gutsy defense of the tier 1 there. They did get a kill, and they totally chased EG off.
It was a 1-for-1 trade. I think if they killed Demon there, it's worth it, but they TP'd in 3 heroes. They had 5-man Dota at bottom lane at 5 minutes in, and they got 1 kill, and they still lost Clockwork. So it's really, if EG are going to look at that and think, wow, that's actually really good for us. Demon got out of there, we got ourselves a kill, we only lost 1, and it was a support hero. They lost Rubik, they lost Fear. They're going to be really happy with that. Malk got himself some space at top lane. He's about to hit level 5 as well.
I mean, that gave Milk all the space he sort of needed, especially considering the entirety of the lane left. I agree, Artyk were definitely looking to get a little bit more than they got out of it. The plus side is PL did score the kill, so his trip down to bottom was not totally wasted. Actually, ult on Smash.
Yeah, they've got the Beastmaster Rob, and this is going to be an easy little pick-off from EG. The 2 supports rotate in, and Geo. Level 3 Wild Access was all that's needed. He now hits level 7. He's going completely all in with the Inner Beast, so he's not going for any points in the Call of the Wild just yet.
That's interesting. I guess he won't be trying to spot out PL. They're going to, rather than try to keep PL down explicitly, I think EG are going to seek to just push and win before the PL gets relevant. And I like this more, I think, actually. It doesn't sort of pigeonhole JO quite as much, and it does give them more 5v5 just with the inner Beast Aura for the Bear, for the Lifestealer.
Yeah, and I think PL at this point is not looking as scary as he could, considering he's got the 1 kill, but he TP'd bottom, he had to walk all the way back top. He's only synced on 33 creep kills compared to Demon, who's got 48. Right. Beastmaster's got more. Darkseid, the mid lane, well, the PL's teammate has a lot more as well, but it's a case where PL is not completely free farming.
Right. It's just a lot of time that they spent actually going down there. I mean, I think you were definitely right. They needed to maybe try to get 2 or 3 kills if they had focused on one person and then been able to maybe counter into the tier 1. It might have been a possibility, but instead, PL loses a ton of farming time. He is, I mean, his build is fairly coherent. It looks like he's going to go drums and then move into the Diffusal Blade. So drums first gives you that a little bit more 5-man Dodo, which does look to be what they're seeking to play. I'm not sure what I think about this, though. I mean, the PL... How much can he really contribute with just drums?
It's some good stats here, and I think just a bit worried about the aggressive potential coming out from this EG lineup when you get Beastmaster, Lone Druid pushing. Even if, we'll probably see Malk go for that sort of Armlet Maelstrom build here. Sure. A really strong early game build. He's got 1 Gloves of Haste already. Hasn't even got boots on this Spirit Bear, but he's already looking for either the Armlet or the Maelstrom.
Yeah, and I mean also JO, he's very close to Mechanism as well, and I think he'll hit it even before Darkseer, which is pretty rare that you see anybody beating Darkseer to Mechanism, but that's one of the strengths of Darkseer, frankly, is that he gets those early teamfight items.
Malk in trouble. Surge in from the Nyx Assassin. He's going to get impaled up. Lancer full Ice Path there as well. TP's from EG, but they're too late here already. JO could actually get this turned around on him. He's going to drop a roll on the Jakiro, but I think Artyk just going for more kills here. JO in all sorts of trouble. There is a lifesteal arriving with the raids. That's going to bring down 1, and well, JO, he's still alive. Is there mana for another Lance? There is, but Bottle Up keeps himself alive. It's going to change target to Fear, so Fear gets brought down. Meanwhile, on the backgrounds, Demon with the phase boots. He's going to try to chase down the Jakiro. Jakiro juking and jiving. Can he cut through some trees here? No, he's got no tangos. That's where you say, where are your tangos? Oh! 10 HP, the Infest. Not enough damage there. He does get the kill finally, but, well, interesting little clash.
They're going to try to Lance Demon, actually. This isn't over.
No, it's not. Lifestealer. Lance up, Surge, onto the Nyx Assassin. He's actually going to go for this kill here with an Impel. I don't think they can do enough damage. Yeah, Helmet of Iron will give him some extra armor, some HP regen, and it's enough to keep him alive. But Artyk, they've gone in really deep here.
Yeah, definitely playing with killing intent in this game, and I like it on one hand, but on the other hand, Artyk just don't really have the better 5-man Dodo lineup. Like, they're not going to convincingly win these fights, even if they do get the jump a little bit. I did like the boldness of the play to some extent, but this Demon phase boots is actually just huge. The fact that he went phase so fast has saved him at least twice. It got him the kill on Jakiro there. I mean, it's just been an incredible pickup.
Yeah, and we're going to see Demon now with, well, Armlet up, so he hasn't gone for the phase drums, but just phase boots alone with an Armlet's going to give him a lot more survivability, and we're seeing mech up on Beastmaster, so they've got survivability all over the place, EG. So if they get another fight like that at the top lane, it's going to go a lot better for them now with a mech and Armlet up on their side.
Definitely. To be fair, Artyk are only about 600 gold off on the Darkseer from their own mechanism. But like I said, I mean, you have to be feeling good if you're Beastmaster. They might even get a full fight, e.g. when they have mech and Artyk don't, which is a fight that I don't see Artyk winning unless they get an amazing initiation.
Yeah, and right now, well, the support's on both sides, I guess. No, we're not seeing any level 6s yet, so no level 6 for Rubik. Nyx Assassin as well, the other key hero you want to see those levels on, and Nyx Assassin actually hasn't gone for Carapace. That, to me, is a big shock. Normally you see 1 in the mana burn, and then you look to max out the Carapace. Carapace is such a powerful spell, but I think partly because you're up against a Lifestealer as well as Lone Druid, 2 heroes that kind of make Carapace irrelevant. Even Beastmaster, to some extent, isn't sort of a hero who's throwing nukes at you all the time. Maybe you sort of block a Roar or something, but Roars are mostly going to be focused on other targets.
Exactly. I actually don't mind the no Carapace build. It does seem weird when you think about it, but what you said is basically true. Lone Druid is just going to entangle you. Maybe you'll get the first thing of the entangle, but it's not tremendously likely. Lifestealer, he does chew through that pretty quickly. Leshrac, I mean, maybe he procs it with the first instance of Diabolic Edict, but then you immediately just take the rest of the damage. It's just not, we're not talking about a Keeper of the Light team here. We're not talking about a team where they're just going to toss like something on you from long range, like a Chaos Knight. Yeah. We're talking about a team that mostly just wants to get in and fight scrappily. So even if the second point of mana burn isn't tremendously useful. Being able to get 2 mana burns off in a fight might actually make the difference between a live Leshrac and a dead Leshrac, because his endgame is pretty serious.
It'll help against the squishy supports, but the mana burn doesn't do anything, really. I mean, Lifesteal obviously not mana dependent, but
no.
it burns mana based on your intelligence. So I feel just having a single point in Carapace, because Lifesteal is not always going to be in rage form. Sure, it's a 6-second duration with a short cooldown, but if you pop the Carapace and his rage is on cooldown, he has to stop hitting you, unless he wants to get stunned up. So I wonder if it's maybe a misclick here, because I've seen Mystico play before, and this is not something which I'd expect coming out of him, because the former Gamers University team, it just normally you see some more standard kind of play coming out of them.
Yeah, Artyk aren't a team that we really see just going like hard pocket weird strats. They do play just mostly solid Dota, so I don't know.
Yeah,
I think his rationale may be something along those lines, but really the only person that's in danger from that rank 2 mana burn is Beatiz. I do want to say though that Beatiz is actually somewhat dangerous in his own right, not because of his items in this game, but because he has gone that Diabolic Edict build. And when you know you're on the offensive with Leshrac, this is still the way to go, even with the new cast time. If Beatiz gets off an Edict, I mean, these towers melt. We saw the bottom tier 1 tower melt, and we could see the mid and as they continue to push through. So Beatiz is an important target. I just don't know if it's worth dropping the spiked Carapace for.
Yeah, and we'll see how EG transition from here. I imagine they're going to look to start taking down some towers soon. Just the 1 tier 1 at bottom's gone down, but they've got 3 heroes grouped at mid. Not really looking to overly commit to any sort of a push. Malk's still farming in his own neutrals. Demon's still happy to keep on farming a bit more himself. But right now, Artyk, I feel this is good for them, because they need time to farm the mech up on Darks here. Even getting some more levels on heroes like Jakiro, Nyx Assassin, Clockwork wants to get to level 4 rockets. I feel that Artyk heroes are a lot more level dependent than EG.
Yeah. I agree, and which makes it problematic, of course, that they're already lagging just a little bit on those levels. Actually, it's not too bad, actually. I shouldn't say that. They're actually fine. But I fear that Artyk might just not be in a position yet to fight, but they're being baited into fights by AG. Like, every time AG sort of moves up, Artyk seem game to just go 5 versus 5, and I feel like that's kind of begging for some difficult situations, because in these early fights, I just don't see them being advantaged enough. I think it's to Artyk's advantage to actually slow the game down as much as possible, at least for about 10 minutes. Get that Phantom Lancer, get Iwo to a point where you can really scrap, and maybe then fight. And the challenge for them is going to be not letting EG draw them into a very difficult situation, when EG are obviously going all-out push. I mean, the 3 ranks of Edict already up on Beatiz's Leshrac, the Lone Druid Bear building towards Mjolnir. They want to push and just deal lots of damage onto that tower.
Yeah, I think Artyk, they're behind by couple 1500 XP, 2k gold. I think they're actually going to be okay with this position. If they can get the levels on Nyx Assassin, PL with this drums, if he gets a Diffusal up, Diffusal's actually going to be pretty decent against both Lifesteal and Lone Druid in some ways. Well, Lifestealer especially, because of how mana dependent he is.
He gets them, actually. Interesting.
Wow. Invis Rune, Smash. He's actually trying to bring down Beatties here just with the Iron Shell damage. Ice Path's going to come in just to try to keep this tier 1 alive, and it looks like we'll see Artyk just go for the deny. I don't think EG even going to make a play for this. No play for it. Raw is up. Could see you go for this. Leshrac just out of range, I think, for the stun.
Yeah, that had to be a range thing, because Jo, if I know Jo, he would always go for that roar. There's no situation in which that roar wouldn't have gone
I think Leshrac hitting a stun afterwards is going to be hard, because there's going to be a defensive Ice Path, which would buy Darkseid sometimes. So I think it would have been a hard kill to get. So they make the safer decision just to back off, and they're going to try to defend their T1 top, but they're not going to do so in time, and PL actually gets the T1 tower, so Artyk going to be really happy with that little trade-off.
Absolutely. That's a huge deal for them. It's okay for them to lose a tower here and there, and in fact, I think they have to be a little laconic about the defense of the towers. Like, if they don't think that they have a clear advantage, just let the tower go and get a trade with the PL. Don't rotate the PL. Stop rotating the PL over, because it didn't go that well the last couple of times you did it. Just have him farm, have him build up, and just play defensively until you feel
Mid lane, there's been this 2-man smoke from EG, but they've been going to smoke into 3 heroes, it looks like. Jakiro, Mech keeps him alive, Ice Path's going to go down, J in all sorts of trouble, he's taking too much damage here. Rockets even come in, and EG, a 2-man smoke into 3 heroes. Well, it ended up being into 2 heroes. It looks like one actually ventured off into their own neutrals, but I thought they would bring more heroes with that smoke gank, and it was, what, Beastmaster with a Rubik? They just don't have the damage to kill anyone with those 2 heroes.
Right. Maybe if the mechanism hadn't been up, because that would have, if they managed to pick off Masoku before he dropped down the Macropyre, that'd be one thing. But instead, I mean, a pretty serious mistake, actually. Any time that EG give Artyk just play passive is very bad, because it moves PL towards the position where he's actually a threat.
Yeah, and PL's already up to 1,500 gold with a tier 1 tower. He's had himself a couple kills here. He's really had uncontested farm in some ways, and he's not worried. He'll quite happily take Malkin at this top lane. Malk's actually slowed down a lot. I mean, he didn't really have a good early start, but as an off-lane lone druid, he had a decent start.
Right, absolutely. The next thing is, I think they'll probably build... how close is he to Diffusal? PL about halfway to Diffusal, so they're getting the time they need. He's probably going to hit it around 17, 18 minutes, which is not bad timing, considering he went boots and drums first. And they're smoking, actually, so... they're on the opposite side of the map from where they need to be for the smoke, but we'll see what they make of it.
Yeah, the lifesteal infesting as well. And this is EG putting a lot into these smoke ganks because they need to make something happen with them when they're not farming. Malk is farming, but they got lifesteal not farming. Beastmaster not getting any more farm. He's just sitting on this mech, and PL, he's TP'd out. He's gone bottom, so they're going to completely miss each other. They're going to... Artyk is smoked at bottom lane, but this favors Artyk. It's like we've said time and time again. Artyk need the levels more. They want to go to mid to late game more without taking these early to mid game fights. This is really happy for them.
Absolutely. I thought that you were talking about Artyk, and I think you thought I was talking about EG, because they both smoked, and they were both on the wrong side of the map. So any trade, especially a trade that gets towers down, is great for Artyk. Losing this top tier 1 is kind of a pain because it makes this jungle less safe, but generating the opportunity to farm this jungle is great because currently they have superior vision here. Artyk actually can effectively exercise map control in this half, and that'll be great space for the PL to work.
And Artyk were pushing faster. They got the tier 1 first. They're actually going to go into the tier 2 here. EG, they're starting to get back to defend. Rubik TPs to the tier 3, so we may see a couple of heroes TP to tier 3, and then when they want to take the fight, someone TPs on the tier 2, but they're not in position to do so. EG, they're still going for tower trades here, so this is... Once again, somewhat favoring Artyk here, but there's more TPs back. So EG, they're not going to let this tier 2 go, and they're actually going to claim a tier 2 of their own. So EG, nice bit of play there. TP coming in. Darkseer, that is...
wow.
Not good. That ain't happening. That is not happening at all. And I think Artyk felt they could take this fight with the TPs back from EG. It's only 3 heroes for EG at top lane. Can they bring down Malk here? Jewel Breath going to slow him down. Buyback from the Darkseer. They're going to get at least Malk here. It looks like just the 1 kill, and TP's out from Beaters. As well as it looks like, I think Jo also TPing out of that one. So,
yeah,
I think Artyk okay with that trade there. Losing their tier 2 without taking the tier 2 at bottom lane, not ideal for them. But, hey, PL gets himself another assist, and his Diffusal Blade very, very close.
Absolutely. A quick note, actually. I think Artyk could have done much better. They made a fairly serious misclicking error. Mihawk actually used his hook shot to hook a creep near the tier 2 bottom tower of EG, and as a consequence, they could have chased at least one more hero out at top, and they couldn't because Clock's hook was still 50 seconds away.
EG want to take this fight mid, it looks like. They've got no roll, though, and I think as a result, they just can't do this. Axes, there's no Lightning Storm from Beaters as well. Beaters actually going to get caught by an Ice Path. Demon's coming from the side. Wall of Replica. Demon's still chasing, though, but he's going to retreat now. The rage has worn off. That 6 seconds is all you get. And now we see a 3-man Impel. No, just hits 2, actually. Ice Path to follow. Perfect synergy from Artyk here. They take out, well, just 1. Lifesteal's actually turned this fight around. Lifesteal, Demon's still fighting on red HP. Armlet toggling his way to victory. Darkseer on the run. Surge wears off. He gets roared down, and Artyk are just dropping 1 by 1. Now going to pick up a 4th kill. That fight looks so good for Artyk. They just comboed their AoE disables so well. Impales, Ice Paths, but they just don't seem to have the levels on some of these heroes to do enough damage to EG.
I actually think they had what it took. I want to talk about Old Man Dodo real quick. Fear's steal of the vacuum there was actually, I think, what completely turned the fight. Because it followed a period in which Artyk had a perfect chain of vacuum, impale, Ice Path, Macropyre, which usually should get the kills, but as PL and Darkseer and Nyx all moved in to start following that up with damage, Fear actually had an absolutely excellent vacuum that pushed them all way towards Demon. And after that, it was just Milk damage, Demon damage, and EG completely turned the fight in that instant. And I've got to say, Fear in his first game that we've seen in a while as a hard support just made a name for himself.
Yeah, he's been playing this quite a lot. IXCL has sort of been his go-to role whenever he's been playing those sort of in-house leagues. It's like, okay, pick me a support. Demon's been playing the carry, and it's some really nice armlet toggling there by EG's Demon. So Artyk are on the losing end of that fight. They're still well in this game, though. PL survives the fight, gets his Diffusal Blade, gets himself a kill as well. So it's still just a 3k gold lead for EG. Looking at net worth, PL is on par with the Lifestealer, which based on EG's sort of strong early to mid game, you're going to be perfectly happy with for Artyk.
Yeah, I think Artyk are still okay. The only issue is I'm not sure how favored they actually are late game. Yeah. I feel like they have to be careful with their timings. Like in StarCraft, of course, you talk about there being a particular timing attack, and I do think that Artyk have a timing when PL is going to be very strong, but before Lone Druid and Lifestealer can develop countermeasures. That said, I don't think it's impossible for them to develop countermeasures. I actually think that this dual core can overcome PL in the very, very late game if they build the right items.
Yeah, especially if Beastmaster gets some farm to go with that as well. If we see a Blink Dagger, a Gem, an Aghanim Scepter for the extra range and shorter cooldown on the Raw, I think it's definitely potential there to have a very strong team fight and late game for EG. Something which Artyk, well, they've got a Darkseer for the team fight, but heroes like Jakiro, Clockwork can sort of fall out of favor the later this game goes.
Absolutely. They might actually kill Smash here. He's been way too far up.
He's getting chain entangled as well. He's going to get burst down. He's already popped the mech. Another entangle comes in. They do bring down Malk's Bear here, but Demon's gone in with the Rage. He's trying to bring down Mystico. Will succeed in doing so. So EG, another really smart engagement. They just chip away at the Darkseer, bring him down, and then Demon's like, well, we've got one. Let's make it two. Nyx Assassin is easy pickoff during Rage.
This feels like, and I don't mean to over-criticize, but I do feel like Smash is not quite playing this Darkseer to the best of his abilities. I think he usually prefers more traditional mid-heroes like Queen of Pain, like Puck, and consequently the fact that he's not typically an off-lane player is causing him to take... He's treating Darkseer like a hard mid. Oh wow, what a kill on Clock.
His cogs go against him when you get pulled to the other side of them. His cogs were blocking his escape path, and now EG, they see a perfect opening to go for this tier 3 tower. Ice Path will slow him down, but this is Iwo's time to just keep spamming those lances, try and slow this push as much as possible. Beat is on the front line, taking a lot more damage than his life. Demon goes in, he has got himself a Rage as well as pops off the dust. It looks like he's not coming down Iwo. Iwo gets surged and he's chasing Beaters. Lance going to finish off Beaters. Clockwork, hookshot, where are your cogs? Doesn't actually catch anyone. Demon still finding his way out of this one if possible. Cogged in with the Clockwork, which is ideal scenario for Demon. Easy pick off on Clock, and well, Jo, roll back up, takes out Smash. Once again, pick off after pick off for EG. These scrappy fights are just going in their favor.
Yeah, I have to say that I do think Smash is just playing this Darkseer as if it was a Queen of Pain, and he doesn't have the tankiness or the damage to actually make an impact when he comes into these fights. Also, just really quick about the kill on Mihawk on the Clockwork. Again, that was actually all fear. He lifted him out of his cogs and dropped his stolen Macropyre right on top of the clock. And that made initiation, or rather counter-initiation from Artyk, essentially impossible.
Yeah, Fear has been playing absolutely spot on with this Rubik. The initial lift off, and then the second kill was just bread and butter for both Malk as well as Demon. Getting trapped into a cogs as a lone druid and a lifestealer is just kind of like, well, okay, feeding day. Like sheep caught in the pen with the two lions is, well, Demon's back to farming. He's bottom lane. He's got 4.2k gold. Be interesting to see what he gets. Well, if EG want to try and end this early, maybe we see something like a Desolator, because the minus armor on buildings does help push a little bit faster. Otherwise, we can look at just your standard sort of Basher type build, maybe even a Maelstrom Mjolnir to help deal with the PL illusions. But Artyk are actually going to try sneak a Roshan here. This is risky, but it could pay off for them.
Well, EG saw them coming. I mean, they have good vision. EG doing a good job of just planting wards on their sort of path of destruction. So they don't have vision of the pit, but I think they have a pretty good idea what's going on.
They've got it in just a second here. Hawk flies in, and now EG know.
Yeah, definitely. And they're rotating in, and I think EG can take this fight.
Demon's got his Desolator now as well, so he's going to be doing a lot of damage. Ice Path's going to slow this down, and Artyk need to get out. EG not going to get any pickoffs. I think Artyk are lucky to get out of there without losing anyone.
Problem is, I think they just gave away Roshan. EG could take this if they wanted.
I think EG could have taken it regardless, where they could just force Artyk back, but they just helped them out a whole lot. They could have been pushing out lanes, farming their own neutrals, doing a whole lot more during this time, and now, well, we do see EG go in, and Artyk not even going to make a play for it.
I actually love the Desolator pickup on Demon. I don't think there's any reason to go for a bigger item. They can end this, and in fact, they want to end this in the next 5 to 10 minutes. They don't lose if it goes longer, but they should feel comfortable, I think, at this point, just going for the throat. And the Dezo, when you've got a Lone Druid, just the amount of farm that Lone Druid Bear with Battlecry and Demolish deals to towers, when you add on a Desolator to that, they're just going to absolutely melt way too quickly for Artyk to do anything. They're a damage over time team. They're not a burst team, and in fact, they have no burst damage. So they simply cannot do anything to EG before EG can bring these Raxes down in some respect.
And everything EG is building and doing right now is to end this game by 25 minutes. We see the Desolator, we see Malk actually pick up a Hyperstone building for the old Salt Caress. Beastmaster's got his gem to help give the vision they need to kill off the PL and also just D-Ward, get the map control. EG, they go and they're looking for Rax here. Cannon is coming. Can Mihawk do this with his clockwork? He is going to sort of set up a nice wall of replica, but there just doesn't seem to be enough damage coming out of Artyk. Only Beastmaster's taking damage here. He's actually going to get out of there. Mech bottle charges, and there's no real follow-up damage. PL can throw illusions, but at this point, PL is just sort of chipping away, harassing. While EG, they're actually throwing the big punches. They're throwing the uppercuts. They're going to get themselves Raxes here, and well, Artyk, they can just stand there and watch. EG can back off, go for another lane here. They don't even have to sort of sit around and well, the aftermath is there. They've already done the damage here. They're actually going to look for a pickup. Infest into the Spirit Bear. This is new to me.
Yeah, it'll happen. Oh wow, that's big again. They probably won't get smashed just because Darkseer moves too quickly, but credit to EG again, by the way. Very good poise in that last team fight. They correctly identified that the only follow-up... Actually, Fear's in trouble.
Yeah, Fear's going to go down here. The Cogs, not really working out too well for him. Level 1 Cogs as well. Demon going to go back in, look for the Darkseer. Those Cogs will work out well for Artyk. They may actually pick off Demon here. He's got Aegis, though. That's really the good news for him, but he's not even going to go down. Split Earth not going to land, and now they change Saga. They say, well, Beaters... You look a lot tastier than Demon.
they bet the beat is. The excellent thing for EG in that fight was they knew. Oh no!
That hook, man! You needed that hook. I don't think. Where's Malk? Can he get another hit? He gets the other hit he needs. Malk gonna go down, but he gets the kill he was after. PL does. Hey, I mean, you're down Raxes, but you got a PL, so you can never really count Artyk out of this game.
I don't think they're completely out, gods. And let's note, this PL has still not died. This has been good defensive play from Iwo, even though he's been in basically every team fight. He's just getting on the outskirts. He's going to get his first death in just a second, though. This is going to be really bad.
Oh, Raw, Gem, and Demon, well, he's now the only one in this game without a death. He's 11-0.
Yep, that gem coming out on Jo is really, really huge. It means that now, because EG have total map control, PL has essentially no safe space. He knows that at any time Jo can just sort of jump on him and start off the pain, basically. Jo doesn't quite have those movement items yet, stuff like Blink or Boots of Travel if he wants it, but he could go it. I mean, he's got plenty of capital.
Yeah. I think if they want to end fast, we go for maybe a Necrobook or a Vlad's, get the extra auras from a Vlad's is an item EG like to go when they're going for these sort of 25 to 30 minute push lineups, because the +5 armor as well as the plus damage you get is really powerful. But Necrobook, another possibility for Geo if he wants to try and end fast. But if you want the mobility, it's Blink Dagger. So I think one of those 3 items is sort of the most likely choices.
I think he's probably not going to buy anything before the next fight, or if he buys something, it won't be delivered. Because EG it's a timing thing. They want to just push down now. If they get 2 Raxes down, I don't think it matters that PL is doing well. Like, it's really just not going to make that big of an impact. EG are too strong and too capable of pushing right now for Artyk. Only if they win a team fight. And if EG take down the Jakiro as quickly as they did last fight, that's actually a really big deal, because Macropyre is a generous quantity of Artyk's damage. And Macropyre is a good ability to use when you're defending tier 3, because there's a choke point. The field of play is small, and the smaller the field of play is, the stronger Macropyre is. In that last fight, EG killed Jakiro so quickly that it wasn't even a factor, and without that, what damage other than some anemic PL auto attacks can they possibly deliver?
Yeah, and EG, it's like you say, it really is this timing thing here. Demon, even with the Aegis 3.5k gold, he's not bringing his next item. He's saying, we need a siege and just get this next set of Raxes now. He goes in with the Rage, brings the tower down to about half HP, will back off before the Rage wears off. This is really smart plays. This is the slow siege, which you can do with both Lifesteal and Lone Druid. Whenever Rage is up, you go in for about 3-4 seconds, it's about to wear off, you back off. And we'll see it again here. You're probably just going to rage in, start hitting away, and then backs off when it's about to wear off. And there's nothing Artyk can do about this unless they want to go for a risky engagement.
There's the tower, too.
Yeah.
I mean, EG, this is actually a pretty good stun, but it's not enough. I mean, keep in mind Demon's still holding the Aegis. He can dive in if he really needs to, if he thinks that's the time to just go for it. He can dive in, waste the Aegis, and just have people focus him in exchange for basically the entire rest of the team. He infests to full, by the way.
Yeah, I was about to say, I thought I heard an infest here. It's actually just used to heal himself up.
Heal.
It's going to be on cooldown this fight, but I think he just wanted the HP more than anything. He's still got the Aegis for a bit longer. I want to say about another minute or so. He's actually going to take quite a bit of damage here on the front lines, and this is where going to be pretty happy about the infest.
Just going straight for Rax.
Rage it off, go for the Raxes, forces a glyph out, and there's your mech coming out of EG. So EG is still plenty healthy here. They'll quite happily lose Demon's Aegis. They've still got Malk Spirit Bear hitting away in the Rax, and he's going to respawn, Rage, and finish off the Rax, and then back off.
Absolutely. I love the patience coming out from EG. I mean, they're just playing so patiently. Ooh,
there's your Vacuum Ice Path, and they're going to follow up with an Impale onto 3 heroes as well as the Spirit Bear. Geo, he can't really find a cannon for a Raw. He's actually going to take a lot of damage. The Macropyre follow-up And Demon's brought down. He does take Chikiro with him. Can they get more? This is the big thing for Artyk. They need to get 3, 4, 5 kills here if possible. Ice Path actually stolen by Old Man Fear. He's done it once again. He's trying to keep them in this game. Another Ice Path will be up in 2 seconds. He needs to use it because he's taking a lot of damage. He changes his spell. He steals Lance. He's trying to turn this around, but Artyk, they're fighting, and they're fighting pretty well here. Mount, the only one left standing. He's looking for this clockwork, but he's going to run. He's going to hide. TP out. Is there anything to cancel it? Doesn't look like it.
Great fight for Artyk. I mentioned earlier, Gods, that I feel like they don't have bursts, but they are a damage over time team. And that time they got the damage over time. Like we talked about the Macro Pyre. When that Macro Pyre lasts basically its full duration, and Vacuum, Ice Path, Impale will make it last close to its full duration, it is an enormous amount of damage on your team, and EG don't have a pipe or something to actually deflect that. In the situation that Artyk can land all those spells, it's tough for EG to win, to just win outright until they actually build up that pipe. But that said, I mean, it comes after the racks. The problem here is that if the fights are on Artyk's turf, they can win the team fights and still lose the game because they're down to 3 racks of 6 now.
I think that was just a bit of a brain fart by EG. They got the melee racks, and then they're like, it was this sort of thing like, okay, we got the melee racks, what's our next thing? We get the range racks. But they just lost the Aegis on Demon. Rage was on cooldown. They were really out of position. It was one of those things where right after in the melee racks, they should have just backed off. Go farm out the enemy neutrals, don't take a fight. Wait till you're ready to go again, and wait till you have your next items out, because they were sitting on a lot of gold. Beastmaster, Ag Scepter was coming up soon. Lifesteal he's still on 4k gold, so I feel they could have just backed up, got their next level of items up. You're up 3 Raxes, you don't need to take a fight at that point. I think EG just, I think it was a bit of overconfidence, and it was a perfect team fight from Artyk. If they don't get that perfect team fight, EG win the game. If EG win that fight, it's over. So I think EG's reasoning there is that if they win that fight, the game's over. So they'll take a bit of a risk, but it doesn't pay off. But they're still in control.
Yeah, absolutely. I still think they're still in control. It's just funny. I was just praising them for how patiently they were handling that fight, and I managed to say that approximately 2.5 seconds before they stopped being patient. So, you know, fire victim.
Oh, they've got a gem, I think. They did have a gem. Artyk, where's your gem gone? Sentries? Nope, they're not going to spot Demon.
I don't think they had a gem.
They drop a sentry. Yeah, they stole the gem that was Beediz's gem that was on the Beastmaster. I remember PL picking it up. I'm not sure where it is now. Raw goes down on Mihawk, and it's actually going to get turned around. EG have found the opening. They're after Wall, Replica. Vacuum pops in as well. They're actually going to do a lot of AoE damage. The Magpie there again in EG. Fighting in open space here, get completely walloped by a Vacuum, but they've got the item advantage they need. They've got the Assault Cuirass on Malkin. Well, one by one, Artyk, they all fall down.
They did a decent job there. It was almost a great initiation, but actually Demons Infest did a lot of work there. Infest rank 4, 400 damage is no joke, and it hit 3 or 4 heroes, I think.
Yeah, the gem actually sitting on Kuri here. If they had that, they could have maybe picked off Demon before the fight began. They don't really have a direct stun. That's the problem. They see Demon and they go on him, but he's just going to rage out off of anything. Maybe you get the Impale in, but you've got Impale, Ice Path, but then you're not going to kill him during all that.
What is Demon doing? Are they just...
He wants his heart.
Oh, okay. I was like, is this Fountain Farm time already? That seems a little... No, you're right. He finishes off hard. This makes him essentially undeal-withable, because Artyk, they have a cap on the amount of damage they can deal, essentially, and that cap is now lower than Demon's HP.
Yeah. So, Rax's bottom lane going down, and EG now. 5 Raxes down, top range Rax still there, but essentially this is going to be the GG. It looks like Artyk, they just can't really fight through this. They're too far behind. The PL, unless he's got, what, level 2 Diffusal with a Heart of Tarask and some Boots of Travel here to TP all around the map, you're not really fighting this. PL will come in and try and pick up some kills here just to finish things off here. Fear, once again, sealing Vacuum. He's been having some key... There's no real big sort of wombo combo like Mag RPs or big ulti spells like Black Holes he's sealing, but he's sealing useful spells every fight.
Oh, yeah.
Ice Path, Vacuums, anything to just help out his team.
I actually think Fear has done incredibly well on this support. It might just be a question of, like, eventually for EG, they're going to have to make the decision. We have a guy who can play support very well, and he can play #1 very well, and are the other rotations good enough to actually justify changing this? But honestly, on this rubric, Fear had a fantastic game. There was at least one team fight that I think they would not have won, but for the fact that he just played excellently. So EG, I mean... looking fairly in form. Still a little bit of that EG throws that people like to talk about. They did lose a team fight unnecessarily at top, but overall, I think very, very crisp play from them and fairly convincing win.
Yeah, I mean, it was a fight they didn't have to lose, but I don't feel it was one of those big EG throws moments where you're like, oh my gosh, what are EG doing? I think it was just like, well, it's the kind of thing any team could have done. It was just like a, hey, this game is in the bag. Let's try and take this fight, because if they mess it up, we win the game. But EG, they take this game, so they go through to the winner bracket final. Essentially, the way this works, we've got 4 teams in the group. It's basically a double elimination bracket. If you win 2 games in a row, you win the group. Basically, there's no grand finals for the double elimination bracket. The winner of the loser bracket gets second in the group. So Artyk, they drop down to the loser bracket. They'll verse the loser of our next match, which is going to be Team Dust up against Orox, who are a Ukrainian team. It'll be interesting to see how that one goes down. But thanks for joining me, Vikram. We've got ourselves a nice night ahead of us. So be sure, those of you guys tuned in on the stream, let your friends know, let people know, tweet about it, Facebook, whatever it may be. This is the We Play Dota 2 League. There is a Dota TV ticket in store, as we are going to see EG advance to the next round. They'll be coming back later on stream, but our next match is going to be Team Dust up against Orox. You know these teams better than I do, so I'm actually kind of glad you're here. Any predictions and expectations for that series?
Basically, in the Orox Dust, I would say that Dust has higher potential upside in some respects. I think they could surprise, but the generic pick would have to be Orox. They have more experience. They faced up against a lot of Tier 1 teams. They did play EG in, I think, either ISO Cup or EMS1, and they've played no Tidehunter. They haven't won any of these games, but it's just the experience of playing Tier 1 teams gives you sort of a little bit of that tinge of Tier 1 yourself. That said, Dust Gaming, an extremely talented group of individuals, they had a big comeback win in Nettalik Pro League a few days ago, so they could look to surprise.
All right, well, sounds good. We'll be back soon, guys, with more live Dota 2 action here at the We Play Dota 2 League. We'll have a couple more words from our sponsors and commercials. But until then, guys, thanks everyone for tuning in. I'm Gods, and he's Vikramon. We'll be back with We Play Dota 2 action shortly.